And request before we start the session, I would request everybody to kindly pay attention and have the silence in the hall because that's quite distracting for everybody of us here. So I would request you all to kindly please maintain silence. Thank you so much.
Lovely to be in Hyderabad, and thank you for Dimension for making the mistake of inviting me this year also. And Shankar, wherever you are, so far whatever little I've seen, the governor and the kind of speakers you have lined up today, another fabulous seminar I'm sure that we are going to have. So I've got the pleasure of chatting with Mohit Joshi, Mojo. I'm going to refer to him as Mojo because that's what he's called in the industry. I've called him Mojo for, I think, 25 years now. So no, I'm not going to change that. And one of the first things I remember about us was that about 20 years ago, both of us hosted a GK quiz somewhere in Delhi. In Delhi, both of us were the hosts. And today morning, I see that he's again sitting and asking questions to a panel of people. So I thought it was about time we turned the tables. He loves asking questions, so let us ask him some questions and make it a little more, difficult for Mojo. So that's the whole idea. As uncomfortable as we can make Mojo in the next 20 minutes is going to be the attempt. About Mojo, most of you all from the industry have heard about him. He is, of course, and I'm not going to tell you the obvious stuff, which is that he is a Havas loyalist. I think he's been, for the last 150 years, working for Havas. I think he is, he's come up the ranks, now the CEO, very respected in the industry, extremely hardworking, known for being a very good strategist, a good planner, a great relationship guy. Clients love him, right? They want Mojo in the meeting, if it's an important meeting. So all these things you probably know if you're in the industry or even in the periphery of the industry. Let me tell you a few things you might not know. Right from the time he was in school or college, he was a very diligent student, first bencher, sitting in the first bench, making notes, actually going home and studying, those types. He's a very good singer. If you have seen his Instagram handle, etc., he loves singing. That's what he does. Apparently, sometimes in the middle of a presentation, also he breaks into a song. Is what I've heard. Yeah. He loves to travel. Travels across India. Loves to travel. Loves his veg food. He's a vegetarian. Loves his food. Every night he goes to sleep saying, "I'll get up in the morning and exercise." Has never done it one day in his life. And he does not play any sport. He hates cricket. But one of the positive things, or his salvation, comes from the fact that he's married to a lovely lady who was in our industry, and he's got a lovely 16-year-old daughter. So let me start the questioning with a rhetoric question, which will bring me to, your daughter is 16. Does she read a newspaper? Does she watch appointment television? Or is she a screen baby?
First of all, thank you very much for your kind words. I don't deserve most of it, but, yes, she's completely a screen baby. So, that's the fortunate, unfortunate part of the reality, but she's a complete screen baby.
So does this kind of an audience, and this is a rhetoric question, we knew the answer before you gave it, right? So this kind of audience, how has it changed the planning landscape for us? Because, we are similar vintage. From the time we came up to television and print, digital somehow seems to have just changed the whole conversation, the grammar, the way we plan. So how has this digital transformation affected planning?
I think, digital has always been, over the last 7-8 years, we were attempting, or rather 10 years, we were attempting to put digital in the media plan. Now it's like, the plan starts with digital and the other mediums start coming into the plan. It's become an obvious choice today. Now, coming to my, to my daughter or people of that age, if you have to sell them a brand, they are not going to watch television, they're not going to watch, even read print. You have to be there in their meaningful media, which is either Instagram or it is Reels or it is, whatever threads, God knows where they are and what kind of content they are doing. So, and which is why influencers as entities become very important. And that was something that even Amrita talked about, that influencers are becoming important. And for them, more than ads, it is the content and the influencers who are building the brands indirectly, which become very important. As far as is concerned, today the whole planning has changed completely. When we started our careers, it was TV, then it used to be print, and then radio, out of home. Now it's video. Now video can be TV, can be OTT, can be YouTube, can be, even a digital out of home screen, can be anything, wherever the video is playing. And then you have static, which is, static ads on digital, print, and all that, and then audio. Audio is also, you have a digital audio, a very big digital audio segment that's coming in, and the conventional radio FM. So the way the planning has changed is instead of TV, print, radio, it's become audio, video, audio, and static. So that's the big change that has happened over the years.
So tell me, for this change to happen, you can either groom your own planners to walk the talk and therefore adapt the change, or you can acquire, or people who are good at this. For example, what Havas seems to be doing is going the acquisition route. I'm talking about your latest acquisition, Pivot Routes, right? Very respected, very, very respected, lovely. I quite like the kind of work they do on the digital landscape. So was that the thought behind that? Let's bring in the experts, because up to a point we can go through this journey, but we need experts to take it to the next level.
Absolutely. We at Havas had our own very strong digital team, and we have been doing digital for the last decade plus. But when you look at a disruptive growth, and unfortunately we are given targets like 40% growth year on year, which we are unfortunately achieving also. So we need people who can take us to the next level. And I think Pivot Routes was one such complementary agency which complemented everything that we had. They have a huge 400 plus strong team, and they are largely based out of Bombay. Bombay is where we needed more, I would say, from a media perspective, we needed more strength. So, and they have fabulous clients. So, and most importantly, Global has started realizing that India is where the growth is. And I think this is something that has happened over the last 4-5 years, where practically all other economies are facing huge problems, in India, in spite of all the problems that we have, still is growing. And they have realized that right acquisitions in this market will help Havas, or for that matter, not just Havas, any other organization. You're seeing acquisitions happening across industry, will take it to the next level. So, complementing your existing capabilities by getting absolute specialists is very important. So one more thing on the specialization. Last 3 years has seen one more super specialization within digital. 3 years back, if there was a digital plan, marketplace used to be just one line item on that. You would have Amazon, Flipkart, or whatever. Today, you have a full agency at Havas as well as in other environments, which is talking about marketplace. We have Havas Market, which has people who only specialize on optimizing in the marketplaces. And that's become very important. It's a super specialization on digital. So things are moving very fast. And this is unfortunately, fortunately, because of the COVID, that marketplaces have become so important in our lives.
Something that you said I picked up in your answer was about for global networks, India becoming so important. Isn't that a double-edged sword? Because I'll tell you why. On one hand, of course, you get the pleasure of buying out nice large agencies like Pivot Routes and probably get funding for it. But the other edge of that sword is they expect so much from India in terms of profitability and revenue. It puts a lot of pressure on the agency, and therefore agencies are always walking the tightrope between, whether to be profitable or whether to be damn good at what you do. How do you handle that?
Absolutely. That's why we're here, to get more clients, I'll be very honest. This is a reality. It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, there is a lot of, focus on India and investment happening in India, which was not happening when I started my career in Havas 16 years back. India was just a small dot, essentially just a presence in the larger scheme of things. Today, it's an important market from where we are working for the rest of the world. So, we have center of excellences in India, which are working or giving their services to the rest of the world, because in other countries, the cost is much higher, and hence we are able to do it much more better from India. So it's a double-edged sword, but unfortunately, we don't have an option. Once once you have shown 40% growth, you'll always be asked for a 40% growth in future. So the only thing that we do is we keep working hard, getting the right people, because that's the team that you see over there, and the larger extended team is what has delivered. And my boss Rana, who was supposed to be sitting here today, in whose place I am sitting today, and he would have been talking about the group in a much larger sense. They are responsible. So everybody is responsible. Last 3 years has been a phenomenal, last 5 years has been a phenomenal growth for us, ever since the Rana took over the reins of the organization. So it's the entire team working together without any politics, with the same objective of building the organization, that allows you to grow at 43%. And that's what we'll continue or aspire to continue in future as well.
A few years ago, when a large agency used to win a business, a lot of media people used to call and congratulate that agency. Nowadays, nobody congratulates the agency, from media at least, because they know one fallout of a media agency winning a large business means reduction in your rate, right? Part of the 43% growth, I'm sure, strategy. Part of it. I'm not saying that's the only one. Part of it. So, point number one, is it necessary, therefore, to commit that I will drop the rates from the earlier agency? Is that a mandate now? Agencies don't have a choice. They have to, if you want to win a business, say this. There is no other way out of it. And therefore, the backlash comes out on media, obviously, because if you're going to drop rates, you're going to go back to the media. Is there no way out of this?
It's a very, very sensitive question, and in fact, it's being discussed in 3 years of I. Yeah, I can't share more than that right now, but it's affecting everybody. It's affecting everybody, not just the rates, even the commission. So every time you renew a contract, you are expected to reduce the rates, you are expected to reduce the commission. And finally, when we started our careers, you remember we had 15% commission, nobody questioned it ever. And all that we were thinking was building brands. Today, we all know where the commissions are and the rates are. And we are all worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. How will we ensure that we reach our numbers? In an idealistic situation, as an agency body, as 3 years of I, we are thinking, talking, and trying to attempt something, but it'll take some time. And it's a very, very sensitive situation, because there are many agencies which are not a part of 3 years of I. And while if all the 3 years of I agencies decide, then also there's a possibility that there could be an agency which is not a part of 3 years of I would go and disrupt the situation. So ideally we would want to come out of it, because that's not the best situation.
Absolutely.
You can't keep taking the rates below a particular threshold. We all know that, and quality versus quantity is the benchmark that we all need to follow. If you reduce the rates, the quality will come down somewhere. So I am a believer of meaningful media, and meaningful media has no component of rates. It has a component of attention. Is the attention being given to the program that you have, and are we paying for the attention? So cost per attention point is what is more important than cost per rating point.
One question I had, interestingly, we are meeting today, and I was reading the papers today, and it says, I still read papers, that the data privacy bill is going to be tabled in Parliament today. And advertising is a very important component of the data privacy bill. Your thoughts on that? You think the data privacy bill, which incidentally, one of the things is that you need consent for doing anything, even for serving, advertising, everything. They're going to bring it as a law into the country if it passes. How do you think it will affect the digital landscape or advertising?
So if it is passed, I think digital planning will become very complex, right? The way it has happened in the West, GDPR happening, right? So, but I personally feel it is still going to take some time before that bill is passed, because there are many nuances in it which probably are not aligned with everybody in the industry at this point in time. So it will take. So it has to, privacy is important, but at the same time, all of us want to be on Facebook, all of us want to be on Instagram. So it's a dichotomy, right? We say we want our privacy, but at the same time, we are ready to share everything on social media. So I think it will still take some time before the privacy, the data privacy bill gets completely agreed upon. And if it gets agreed upon, there will be serious implications on the way we plan.
Absolutely. You started your career in Madurai, if I'm not mistaken, right? And you said while you were talking to the panel, when you started, your opening remarks were that you're very close to South India and you're well connected to this part. So, and now that we are in Hyderabad, let me ask you, how is planning for this part of the country? And I'm talking about South, that's Tamil Nadu, Hyderabad, Andhra, Telangana, Karnataka. How is it different from planning for the rest of the country? How does it, what are the challenges for a planner when you're looking at this part of the country?
See, I don't think there's any challenge to that extent because these are more media-friendly markets, as the last panel said. South was what gave the geographical isolatability to many years back to us. In my view, what is important is local creative work. The content has to be specific. It's not the media. Media is easy. Media has a lot of opportunities. But what I see is brands using the same communication that they have at a national level, even in the southern markets, which doesn't work. So southern markets needs very, very specific, nuanced communication, and a communication which works in Hyderabad might not work in Madurai, might not work in Kerala. So in my view, the larger challenge is the communication or the creative nuances than the media. Media is still sorted because these markets are isolatable, and we have specific media channels and publications. If I was to go the earlier route, and even digital, of course, you can very clearly target them geographically. So it's not the media that has an issue. It is more the communication that has an issue. Because I remember those days of when I used to work on Horlicks, and we used to take day branding of days, New Year, Tamil New Year Day, day branding on Sun TV. You would have the communication happening every Pongal day branding. So those are big ticket items that I don't see happening, or maybe they are happening today as well. But the communication had to be very specific, because getting numbers, getting reach, getting GRPs has never been a problem for the South Indian states. You've always got that. But what is important is the communication connecting with the audiences there, and are you able to find the right balance?
One more thing about media networks, which I'd like to ask you is that going far beyond the definition of a media network, I'm referring to your own network. You have now got Havas People, which is global brand into India, and that, if whatever I remember, what I read is about intra-organization communication. They help you in intra-organization communication. They help you in positioning your organization to your own employees, communicating with your employees and potential employees, etc. So that's a very different then you've got Havas Play, of course, which is in sports and not necessarily sports advertising. I mean, I presume my dear friend Venkat, who is a sportsman himself, is running that piece. So it's about representing sports people, etc., doing deals on live matches, not to do with media. So all these pieces, is it just an endeavor to try and get revenue from wherever, or is it you believe that these all have a role to play and are all allied businesses and therefore fit in? And what are the role of these?
So essentially, it's all about you have a base business which is advertising, right? Now, advertising is not going to grow at 40%. We all know that. We have not yet come back to the pre-COVID level spends for most of the clients, because last 3 years clients have been having challenges. Bottom lines have been very, very critical. So how do we give more value to the client? It's not just getting revenue, but it's also value to the client. Now, content is becoming important, and that's where Havas Play comes into existence. Now, content can be on cricket, can be on other sports, can be on entertainment environment. So Havas Play is not just sports, it's sports, content, and entertainment. So everything that's happening, and I'll give you a very great example of magazines. I was in one of the magazine congress sessions. I gave examples of how we've used magazines very effectively as content for one of our clients, Hyundai. And there are challenges with dailies, but magazines are facing even larger challenge. And they were asking me, how have you been able to do that? I said, it's because we didn't sell them as magazines. We sold them as a content piece, which was integrating with their larger content ecosystem. So all these, whether it is Havas Market, which is a specialist in marketplace optimization, whether it's Havas Play, which is doing sports, content, and entertainment, they are all ways of giving a a larger opportunity to the client to connect with the audience. So, the monies are limited, right? And we know the monies are also going into digital while people are, always skeptical and there is a lot of debate that happens over there. All these capabilities allow you to create the right meaningful content for the consumer. So whether it's through marketplaces and being there on Amazon and Flipkart in the right way, or it's being on the right sports environment, or a content platform, or an IP that we are creating. There are many IPs also that we are creating these days around the country.
So, if I were to, try and summarize this conversation, what I just had with Mojo, I think all media networks, while they are in a good place in India because India is becoming so prominent and getting a lot of attention from the global head offices, whether they're based in New York or France or London. There is also a lot of pressure on Indian agencies, therefore, to deliver more to the parent companies. And 2-3 ways of doing it is you keep upping the quality and you also keep upping the kind of services you provide to a client, and therefore either acquiring agencies that can provide that service or building that internally and therefore expanding the network.
I just want to add one more thing. Today, clients are again going back to an integrated model. Or at least we are doing that. At HYBIZ, we've been doing that for the last many years, and other agencies are doing it. Because what happened was there was an integrated model, 15%, then it got disintegrated, and then every client had 10 agencies. Now the clients are realizing, no, we want all solutions within an organization, which is the concept of village, which is why we say that we have everything right from communication planning to UI UX under one roof. And that's what the client wants today. So it's all about giving a full communication solution to a client. Whatever you want, we have it. And this is not just for HYBIZ, but this is something that even WPP is doing. WPP also is attempting an integrated model. Other agencies are always doing that, also doing that. We've been pioneers, I would say, in doing that across India and across the world. So that's very important.
When we began this conversation, I promised I would make Mojo uncomfortable. I managed it a little bit during the conversation, but let's give him a tough time now for the next 1 minute. This is my favorite section. It's called the rapid fire section. This has got nothing to do with HYBIZ. I'm giving a disclaimer here. It's Mojo's personal views only. So Mojo, the question is your personal preferences and your personal likes and dislikes. Nothing to do with HYBIZ. So I'm, quickly... Rana, if you're listening, yeah, all right, okay. So, which is your preference or what do you like more, beach or mountain?
Mountains. I'm from Nainital.
Fantastic. Virat or Dhoni?
Dhoni, any day.
Dhoni. Medu vada or batata vada? You're in South India.
Medu vada.
Good answer.
No, even otherwise I would have said that.
Okay. Rafi versus Kishore.
Kishore.
Okay. Madison versus Lodestar. No, you can't say ours. I'm giving you a choice.
No, that will be that. I don't want to get into that question. Both I respect both of them equally. Though I have not worked on either one of them, but I respect both of them. So I won't be able to give you one answer on that.
He's a smart guy. I think both Vikram and Shashi are somewhere around here, right? Lurking somewhere. There. Okay. Amazon or Flipkart? Which do you prefer? Shopping. Amazon. Hindu or TOI? No, your own personal preference.
Neither. I don't read newspapers. I'll be very honest with you. My source of news is Twitter and everything that's happening on social media, and not just today, but for the last many years. But if you were to talk about content, definitely Hindu. Not because you are here.
This guy is going to last a long time in politics. I promise you. If he decides to take that up after his career. Thanks a lot, Mojo. It's a pleasure.
You forgot one thing, What I love is sunsets as well. So your Mojo chasing sunsets is something that I do on Twitter, and a lot of people follow me over there and help me.
Lovely.
Thanks.
Thanks so much, Mojo. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you, everybody.